السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله yes, good. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. One of the hadiths that growing up really I recalled a lot in my days is a very powerful hadith. The Prophet ﷺ says, كل أمتي يدخلون الجنة إلا من أبى. Every one of my ummah will enter into Jannah. Let me just start with that part. Every one of my ummah will enter into Jannah except who, Ya Rasulullah? And that is a huge glad tiding to start the hadith with. Every one of my ummah will enter into Jannah except who? Except those who refuse. إِلَّا مَنْ أَبَى. Who's going to refuse to enter into Jannah? So the companions asked, قِيلَ وَمَنْ أَبَى. Who would refuse? And then the Prophet ﷺ explains, قَالَ فَمَنْ أَطَاعَنِي دَخَلَ الْجَنَّةِ وَمَنْ عَصَانِي فَقَدْ أَبَى. Whoever obeys me goes into Jannah. Whoever does not obey me, they refuse to go into Jannah. The simplicity of this hadith is powerful, extremely powerful. And I want you to imagine for a second hearing this directly from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who would refuse Jannah? I mean, that's what we're all striving for. Who would refuse it? And it's obedience to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Every act, small or large, external or internal, of obedience or disobedience to the Prophet ﷺ, I want us to reframe it in our heads that we are either accepting Jannah or refusing Jannah by ourselves. So just take a moment and really absorb that. That when we refuse something that the Prophet ﷺ told us to do, and we come up with many excuses and reasons why. Basically, you're refusing Jannah. Jannah. And the things that the Prophet ﷺ told us to do are many. Some things are external, how we take care of our hygiene, how we look, our identity. Many things are internal. لا تغضب. Right? Don't get angry is a direct order from the Prophet ﷺ. Right? How we talk to elders, how we talk to our parents, how we engage rahmah, the being lenient and merciful when we deal with people. These are all orders from the Prophet ﷺ. The other thing to note is this word, and again, I'm noticing more and more resistance to this word in our day and age, obedience. This idea of obedience. مَنْ أَطَاعَنِي دَخَلَ الْجَنَّةِ. الطاعة. Many of our younger generation, our kids and our grandkids maybe, this idea of me being obedient to anyone, why? Tell me why. Explain to me, convince me. No, this basic of obedience is part of our deen. And sometimes we, even as adults, don't show that obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let alone to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I'm not going to go into the whole discussion about the Quran only or Sunnah, like that's a much bigger discussion, right? But again, what's relevant to this crowd, because I don't think anyone here, inshallah, refuses the Sunnah or any of that, but what is relevant to us is a moment of reflection. a moment of standing in front of the mirror and asking ourselves, what has the Prophet ﷺ told me to do that I have not been obedient on? What are those? And those are little mini refusals for Jannah. What are things that my family is not doing in obedience to the Prophet ﷺ? Many refusals to Jannah. And again, the moment you really think, and again, this is why this hadith has had such an impact over me personally. It's like, no one would ever think that I would refuse Jannah. Of course I'd take Jannah. Yeah, but every day, every single day, we do things that refuse Jannah. From the obvious of maybe not praying any of the sunnah prayers. Even, subhanAllah, the way we sometimes talk, oh, it's sunnah, it's sunnah. It's sunnah, it's sunnah. Yeah, it's the way that the Prophet ﷺ told us to live our lives. That's sunnah, sunnah. This is not about optionality. This is about desirability to Jannah. And again, taking this and asking ourselves, why do we justify to ourselves? Why do we justify to ourselves not praying sunnah? Why do we justify to ourselves bad manners or not lowering our gaze, for example? It's summertime right now, right? Not lowering our gaze. The fitna's all over. It's justifications. And these justifications we're doing are refusals of Jannah. And I want to point out, subhanAllah, that although the hadith is strong, but it is full of rahmah. You don't need to second guess, can I get into Jannah or not? When the Prophet ﷺ starts the hadith by كُلَّ أُمَّتِي, all my ummah will enter into Jannah. That is one of the most merciful statements I have ever seen in a hadith. Just all my ummah will enter into Jannah. Don't worry about it. Now, the decision making is on you. إِلَّا مَنْ أَبَى. And that's why it shocked the companions. Who would refuse? Well, we refuse every day. So our call to action, inshaAllah, is what have we been neglecting? What have we been bluntly disobeying the Prophet ﷺ? And by the way, this is a struggle. You're not going to tomorrow do all the sunnahs all the time, every day. No, you're not. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ said, it's not who neglects it, who doesn't do it, it's who disobeys. So I can strive, I'm trying, I'll miss one day, I'll get weak one day, that's okay. But to say, yeah, I don't pray sunnah. Why? It's sunnah. Right? Or, no, yeah, these things, they're optional. That is what we're talking about. To wholesale look at things like, again, subhanAllah, talking about other people. That is a direct order from the Prophet ﷺ and from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And yet, it is one of the most endemic issues we have today is our tongue. Protecting our private parts, protecting our gaze. So all these things, inshallah, a reminder from me and you that let's not refuse Jannah. Let's not disobey the Prophet ﷺ. Let's take today as a new stance, inshallah, to say, Ya Rasulullah, what do you want me to do? I'll try to do as much as I can. I'll push myself. I'll get myself to do it better, and I definitely won't refuse Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those who follow the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those who love the Prophet ﷺ and know his character, know his seerah, know his sunnah. Knowing the Prophet ﷺ is a huge blessing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that blessing. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those who enter Jannah with him and live beside him and see him in Jannah. Ameen, ameen. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira.